We're still on Mad Lions red side. We'll see if they have another interesting red side draft. They're taking Rel out this time. This is very interesting because they apparently, I mean, Mirwin has also been playing the TF top, so that's going to be banned. They don't want the flex, right? Because that was very confusing in the last draft as to whether it was El Yoyo or Alvaro, even though Alvaro's Rel was not great. So now we're just going to take Maokai first. I believe Maokai was banned instead of Vi in the last draft. And they're going to give the Senna over to Supa, who has had a lot of success on it. They're going to take the LeBlanc. Caps is stuck with this champion. It's probably going to be, well, we'll see if it's AP or AD. It's probably going to be AP here, though the Maokai jungle, who knows. Not a lot of value for Sejuani passive, so they're going to take the Zac instead. Varus, Renata, Glask.
Isn't that the tail of top lane? And Nara on the other side. Here we go.
So they take, they're going to have Zac in the jungle again for Elyoya, and they take the Nara as a counter pick into Cassante. It's nice that they have this flexibility between Elyoya in top and jungle.
I think this draft is actually a lot more fair for both sides. I think MDK were favored in the previous one, but now both of them have comfort picks, comfort drafts. MDK is a bit more...
Have I seen the Scumpex lawsuit against Activision? Yes, we're trying to do a 4 horseman on that. It's very interesting, I think. Is it going to fail? Almost certainly. If it succeeds, will it prevent developers from having a monopoly on their IPs and esports? Yes. So the implications are enormous, even though I think it's very unlikely to succeed.
Straight directive what to look at in this game. It is the bot lane that we want to see. As said already, Supa is 5 wins on Senna this split so far, so we'll see what happens. Let's head over to our casters.
Like, if they're willing to push that to the max, it would literally change all of copyright law in America. Is this the lawsuit that's going to do that? Probably not. And 4 Horsemen, not about Riot Games. We've done tons not about Riot Games.
Stop doing tier lists. No, they're great. What do? They generate discussion and flame for me and Rob.
The last one was only half about Riot Games. It was also half about Activision Blizzard.
Tier lists are a machine to make DMs. The machine is working great. Anyway, the machine that wasn't working so great in game 1 was G2.
Am I sad that Owl just burnt to an oblivion? Of course I am.
G2 should win this game. Then maybe they win another, and MD can come back. Then we have an epic FUD game where it's all or nothing.
Okay, don't make it sound so matter of the fact. Like, that's not the craziest thing you've ever seen in your entire life.
No. The script writers are still doing their thing, all right?
No, I don't want to hear about it. This is...
It's not my fault Riot is a horrible company and keeps getting 4 Horsemen because they suck balls. To be fair, you know, EG got 4 Horsemen too. Well, that was because of things that happened in League of Legends that was, well, I'm not going to say totally wasn't Riot's fault, but mostly wasn't Riot's fault. I do think they share some blame because when Danny is clearly having an emotional breakdown on the stage and you do fucking nothing about it, I think you kind of deserve blame.
Grab those.
Yes, but yes, he does.
Just thought I'd randomly shout that
You just wanted to say 2 chains.
every caster, when every LeBlanc is playing, is like, oh, it's 2 chains.
You know 2 chains has 3 degrees?
Really?
Yeah. Man has been to a lot of school.
That doesn't flow off the tongue as well. 3 degrees is
Now, when we think back to the previous game, it was Hans Summer who was on the receiving end of a Varus damage.
Yeah. Halo Blade's Varus level 1. This time it's Supa.
This time it is Supa, already suffering from some of the early trades. I would say that Renata is an even better matchup. Renata gives you a lot of agency in the 2v2, but the hook connects.
Guardian proc.
I think it was MDK's bot lane that took more damage, though. I think the bone plating there as well from Mickey mitigating a lot, along with the shield that he gets. They're going to be very close to level 2. 2 more minions and they'll get it. And MDK already on the back foot. You can see the difference in priority this time around. MDK with 3 pushing lanes in game 1. This time around, not quite the same.
But importantly, MDK respecting the strength of the enemy bot lane. Right as I say that, though, Alvaro takes a pretty horrible trade. Because you remember, level 1 for G2 was such a disaster that it really cost most of the laning phase for them. But now Yike on the way down. Wave stacking up. Cannon is there, but G2 might just be ready to force the dive. Elyoya only on Wolves.
So, I mean, if you were concerned as to whether or not MDK knew Yike was in the jungle, the moment that they saw Mickey sweeping that try rush, they knew that Yike was in their jungle. We look at mid lane as well. Our observer's highlighting it for us now. Caps with the push. Generally, you gain control over this lane. By doing that, you kind of win control over the damage advantage that you have against an Azir who can't trade that effectively against the LeBlanc. So Yike has the freedom to steal away the blue buff from Alyoya. He clears his entire top side. Now the question is, how will Wolves factor into the equation here? Looks like Yike gonna choose to just be happy with the blue for now, not take any more.
Yeah, I think you got to be careful those Yike, because their wave is still pushing into Madline's Koi, so there is an opportunity for Yoya if he wants to try and swing back into that bot lane once he knows that Yike is cleared out of his jungle. That's been something where G2's bot lane has got caught in the past and has kind of given these leads over, but trying to get that early vision down, I think is necessary in this bot side, and it's just not quite there at the moment for G2 actually to play hyper-aggressive now in this bot side.
Caps continuing to trade as much as he possibly can. Keep in mind, Frescowi already forced to burn TP, went back up, boots refillable. Caps just trying to get as much damage down as possible. Frescowi just trying to force the
Good trade by Caps in the lane here.
Back timing, but here is Yike. Knockup is
Oh, Frescovi's probably dead.
Caps has the cooldowns, taking his time, waiting for the flash back out to safety. Stretching strikes, is it enough? Caps on the hunt. Frescowi, first blood for the side of G2.
Nice job.
Yike just walks in towards mid. Frescowi was trying to go for the trade, thought he was safe with Alyoya, but now Yike and Alyoya spot each other. Battle for the Raptors, battle for the chickens.
Right now, Smite coming down. Alyoya with the XP advantage. As excited as Berlin is, I don't think the Maokai-Zac battle is explosive. Bot lane, though, certainly will be. Bailout still taking on to Mickey X. He's going to flash out to safety. Now they desperately need to get a
Oh, he got the bailout.
Oh,
no. Oh, no.
Absolutely no way Senna should win this. Goes coming out from Hansama, flashing into the shroud, knowing he has to finish the job, and he will get it done.
And that's not all.
Wow.
Mid lane, kills are still dropping. Caps gets himself another. Mirwin was able to find a kill. We're going to need to replay to break all of that down, but G2's bot lane comes alive here in game 2.
Massive win for G2 on the bottom side. Hansama, a little bit nervous, it seems, about where Zac is, so we'll just end up giving his life across.
Quicker recall.
I think he wasn't sure where Zac was. I was like, hang on, if he comes over a wall,
ironically, it is a faster recall. His death timer is faster than the recall timer.
But still,
a tactical death, yeah.
It's actually very smart by Hans.
Massive win for G2 on the bottom side. Hansama,
He also pulls the minion wave, so it gets into turret range as well.
Quicker recall.
It's technically a slightly faster recall, yeah.
Ironically, it is a faster recall. His death timer is faster than the recall timer.
But still,
a tactical death, yeah. But I think you're quite right, Dacta. I think he was just very concerned about a potential Zac collapse, and so chooses to execute. He still holds on to his shutdown for now, still holds on to that gold lead as well. And G2 leading in kills, have about a 900 gold lead for now.
And a much better start. The fact that you have Caps being able to pick up those kills in the mid lane as well means that he's going to be significantly more of a threat. And it feels like when these fights kick off, Hansama is going to be the one that's kind of like in the front line trying to take poke damage. But Caps is going to be the one that's finding these fights. And if you get to a position where you have that early Dark Seal, you start to stack that, your combo will just nearly one-shot, if not one-shot, either Super or Frescowi and take them out of the fight. And from that point forward, G2 can just pave their way into a lot of these fights.
And while TF had more reliable setup, the LeBlanc just had so much more damage. Caps can get it done kind of in isolation, doesn't necessarily need the support of his team. Once he builds an individual lead, you can see he already has the edge over Frescowi, chain connecting. Dashing back there as Frescowi takes over to level 6 just in time. Might just try to force Caps back to try to win out on the trade. Which one is real? Frescowi, uncertain for a moment, is going to hit the correct target. Caps waiting for Yike to come through. Frescowi now going to be in trouble.
Oh, no.
All of his cooldowns burn. He's got nowhere to go, but Elio is going to try to make the difference. LeBlanc, though, slipping right out.
Ooh, they knew the bot lane had moved up, so that's why Yike didn't go in and finish the kill. That was smart. Good awareness. Ever heard of the blackout? I don't know the reason behind the blackout. When's the next foreplay of Heat? This week. But why don't you just watch the Nerd Legion of Blue Eye Samurai? Blue Eye Samurai is a fucking great show. That's a really good show, Doe, and I did. Watch that in the meantime.
You know, we don't have the health. Frescowi coming back out onto the map. Super still full. Means that MDK should be able to secure their first objective. A single grub went down in favor of Yike earlier on. But overall, if you're a G2 fan watching, you're feeling pretty happy right now because you look at the scoreboard and you see Caps 2-0, Hans Sama 2-1. Your carries are in a great position, and Broken Blade, yes, he's falling behind, but in a matchup that you expect him to, and Cassante will always find a way to Cassante.
Certainly, and I think the question for me now is, Mirwin, can you be more than just a lane leader? Can you do more than just shut BB down? Because I think there's more pressure on him. He has this advantageous matchup. He has this gold lead to make a difference for the team, especially as we start to get out of the laning phase.
Well, I think that's where Mirwin is always shown on this MDK roster, right? When you look at like the champions he's played with like the Akalis and the Fiddlesticks, it's all about trying to get this backline access on. With Nar, getting that backline access is critical as well. So when I see if he's going to be able to be set up for success with Mad Lions Koi when you get to objectives, because if he does find that opportunity onto Hans Sama, that could be game changing. But you're gonna have to try and get to that position right now. G2 ton of control, and it's going to make it difficult for Mad Lions Koi to easily find those opportunities when we get to objectives.
And the biggest concern I think Mad Lions Koi have as we get later in the game with Caps having this kind of lead is how do
Just spilled miso soup by myself.
only
Pro.
reliable point and click CC is from Alvaro, and it is heavily delayed. This is such a difficult LeBlanc to deal with. MDK have to be incredibly decisive around every other pick that they get, because taking LeBlanc out of the equation is going to be next to impossible.
They've chosen to go for a swap. Mirwin did spot someone out. He is suspicious. Something is going on here.
Hex flash forward. Yike on the way, flashing back into the waiting arms of Elyoya. Sapling going to hit for the slow. Maybe they're happy to just take Elyoya out as well. Nice ulti to root.
Really nice.
He cannot elastic slingshot to safety using his own ult. Yike on the way, flashing back into the waiting arms of...
They've chosen to go for a swap. Mirwin did spot someone out. He is suspicious. Something is going on.
He saw both of them.
Hex flash forward. Yike on the way, flashing back into the waiting arms of Elyoya. Sapling going to hit for the slow. Maybe they're happy to just take Elyoya out as well.
It's crazy. He actually gets pulled out of his jump, and Yike doesn't even have to use Maokai ult there, so the value is huge.
Great timing on the handshake.
Waste of Zac passive as well.
The elastic slingshot, so there's no other way to get out of it. No flash there in G2. The rotation pays off with a kill, and they will get the Void Grubs as well. That'll be 3, at least to start things off for them. Super though, on the roam. Alvaro is over the wall as well, but I think you're a little bit too late to make this play happen, Madlines.
Alvaro just hovering around.
I think Super's just trying to swap to top side to match the fact that the bot lane of G2 have moved up to top lane. MDK trying to get the matchups that they want. It's not necessarily about moving Hans Sama and Mickey out of this bot lane 2v2, but getting Broken Blade to save.
Do you think MDK is legit the second best team? Well, they beat Fnatic. Even if I think Fnatic giga through game number 5 of that series.
But the resets now coming through from Hans Sama and Mickey, and Dragon spawning in about 2.5 minutes.
And I think that's where you could have used that opportunity.
But they also didn't have any primary engage, so the longer that game went on, the harder it was going to be for Fnatic to win. And BDS decided that they were going to bench Adam, so we can't even measure them against BDS. Oh, maybe.
The reset comes through, but they just send Hans Sama and Mickey back to that top side. So Zupa and Alvaro went for the reset themselves because they thought, oh, well, we have to go and match them on the bottom side of the map. But now instead, it'll be a slow push here for Hans Sama and Mickey, and then I imagine afterwards they will then reset, but it's going to be like 45 seconds time, which means it's going to be perfect timing for the Dragon, where you will have to catch this wave of Supa, move your bot lane, they'll get pushed there, and then they can rotate into River as well.
One of the crucial things that we've seen shift into this mid game is the fact that Friskowing now has control over this lane. The additional cooldowns you have on spawning the soldiers, the fact that he has just more damage at his kit means that you'll see him leveraging his range to get these nice little trades. He also, notice where he spawns the soldiers very close to him to be able to trade back onto Caps. So basically he puts it within range of Caps' W. So if Caps wants to go back to the W, there's still an opportunity for Friskowy to get those autos in. He's playing the matchup very well, coming out slightly ahead in some of these skirmishes. And he's controlling Caps, which can often be a difficult thing to do when this man gets a lead on the block.
Certainly, Yike on the top side of the map, just shadowing in the event that Elyoya shows his face. Of course, Lethality Varus absolutely clears Senna when it comes to wave clear at just about every single stage of the game, so Super going to be forced to respond here. Quick recalls coming out from G2 Esports, and as you highlighted earlier, Dagda, potentially heralding a lane swap and a bit more attention towards Drake. Broken Blade, nice knockback there, hoping to catch Mirwin out, but Mirwin has not hit him under tower. Broken Blade just going to go for the all-in. Senna now coming down for a little bit of extra shielding. Broken Blade determined to find the solo kill, and he will get it.
Nicely done by BB, positioning there to make sure the ult hit a wall, because it does extra damage if you manage to yoink someone through a wall. So setting that up, doesn't worry about getting him under the tower, just wanted to get the kill. And even with Super's ult down, Mirwin,
I mean, losing in this counter matchup that they intentionally picked for Mirwin is pretty bad.
Mirwin, of course, does have the TP, but the bot lane being top with the dragon spawning in 14 seconds means that they can't do anything about it. He can now set up a freeze in the top lane as well.
You know what this game looks like is the Team Liquid game versus Cloud9, where they just kept lane swapping to the side where the objectives were and just completely out macroed them.
I think fantastic turn from Broken Blade. Wanted a bit of redemption in this game too after Mirwin was able to do so much on the Yasuo. But of course as well, G2 just good map play. Senna natural weakness is no matter how strong she is in the meta, no matter how much her damage could be, how well she scales, her wave clear is atrocious, and G2 are punishing that so well.
Yeah, they are playing up tempo very deliberately, so that they can keep swapping sides of the map. It also conveniently gets the Cassante away from the Gnar. So this is really good, I think, by G2. Yeah, I was going to say, there is a very narrow window, about 30 seconds to take the second group of grubs, so it's possible to get 6 grubs here as well.
G2 may just prioritize these plates, though. Caps continuing to find these trades in mids. As MDK kind of forced back into their own half of the map.
Yeah, I mean, Hans and Mickey will be able to get push here, so maybe there's an opportunity to rotate towards Void Grubs, but...
What's my opinion on Mirwin, Robin, from YouTube? I think Mirwin's great, man. I think Alvaro, Mirwin, and Elyoya are all real good.
And then even with Super coming in, there's just so much damage from the Cassante. I think Vedi put it well, it's Cassante just Cassante.
And I think you can see there, if that's game 1, maybe there's a little bit more...
I love Roman. I love that he does this. Every time Roman has one of these crazy body paints in a finals, it just brings a smile to my face, man. Just such a fun part of G2. Okay, well.
Broken Blade cuts him out of the sky, and now Hansama's here as well, rotating just in time on the Tofu strikes. Really just happy to have cleaned the
Sad times. We didn't actually get 6 Void Grubs. They didn't start them. They didn't start them in time. They were going for this dive, but Mirwin was already dead. Little do they know, dies right before going Mega. So I guess they're just going to take some plates instead. You have to start them by 1740 or 1345, or they despawn.
And now Elyoya is in some serious danger.
And there's 2 chains, baby. And Caps might not have 3 degrees, but he's got more than 10 titles. Might be enough here.
Is he going to be up?
Ulti now coming through. Frescowi caught out, rooted. The pushback will not connect whatsoever. And Caps might not have 3 degrees, but he's got more than 10 titles. Might be enough here.
Is he going to be up?
Ulti now coming through. Frescowi caught out, rooted. The pushback will not connect whatsoever. The chain flashed away.
Has to flash, nice. It's very clean by G2. This game is very clinical.
Very limited. And it's going to be late to the punch because you've still got the Rift Herald there that's available that G2 can move over towards after this push as well. And Broken Blade wants to get in behind him. Ghost isn't quite open available. But should be able to get him though.
We've seen this before when Mad Lions Koi start to fall behind.
People complain about Roman and his body paints. Why? His Year of the Dragon body paint is super cool. And he's ripped. What's not to like? He's a ripped dude in body paint. Why are we hating on this? It's fun to see what he's going to do.
Is going for a reset, so maybe G2 could consider something there, but they're happy to just get the turret on the bottom side. So even though they can't get that Rift Herald, G2 still coming out with map control.
This is very quickly becoming the BB show.
Where did he get the flexing taco emote? How do they have infinite emotes I have never seen in my entire life?
It's fun to see naked men. I mean, it can be. It's not being sadly straight. And I say sadly because, like, why wouldn't you want to be bi? You just have more options, man. Being sadly straight, it doesn't do anything for me in a sexual way, but I can appreciate the fact that he's ripped.
Cassante does not care for your presence. And now they can just drop this Herald mid right now if they want to. The Maokai is still hovering around the top side of the map. This wave is likely going to be disappearing soon. But G2, game 2, they turn things around in a significant way. Bot lane wins in the 2 versus 2. Caps is able to work with Yike to find a bunch of kills. And then all they needed was Broken Blade to kick it into gear, find a solo kill or 2. And now it feels like the G2 is just winning absolutely everywhere across the map.
Yeah. Caps going for Lichbane first on the block. An adaptation I love. Obviously offering much more pressure to towers on the side lane, and an extended trade to get so much work out of multiple effective Sheen procs. creative itemization at this point in the game as Mirwin just trying to do what he can to clear out these waves to get a little bit of pressure down. Caps, though, is scary, is threatening, and Mirwin just going to have to walk away from that one.
Kind of surprised to see the Swifty boots from Mirren, though. Thought he would end up going towards Merc threads because, I mean, you do have, like, there's so much lockdown that's there on G2, and I think you're going to be looking for a lot of these teams.
More chances to be turned down? Well, I say, why do you care about being turned down?
Definitely feels tricky. Went forward very early.
That sounds like a you problem.
Potentially off the back of what was a laning itemization choice, but definitely now that you're starting to fall behind, it could hurt.
You can't look at it like people are turning you down as if it's a bad thing. If they're not interested in you, it's better just to get that over with. You know, you're not interested in everybody. They're not going to be interested in you. So if you get turned down, at least you're not barking up the wrong tree forever. It's actually just a merciful saving of your time. What? Why? Don't. It's your ego that's getting in the way.
Nice sidestep there on the stretching strikes. Handshake pulls Supa back. Instant cleanse out to safety. Can't really do much to hit him in the shroud other than Han Sama's ult, but he's just going to flash in and full commit. Blood in the eyes of Han Sama. They want to keep that train.
I say just be mega direct at all times. And if they say no, then you're just like, well, glad I didn't waste time on that one.
Taken down in an instant. Han Sama finding the quick kill there. Caps now following up on the top side of Mirwin, knowing
You have no personality. I don't believe you, I say. I think you do.
Taking some very nice trades there from Mirwin, but it doesn't really mean much in the grand scheme of things as Han Sama picks up another 2 kills. He has to invest both of the summoner spells, and you would be thinking to yourself, hey, that's a great opportunity for MDK.
You know how I showed interest in my wife for the first time? You know, I had some conversations with her, and then I just texted her and I said, "Hey, I'm sorry if I'm too forward, but do you want to come to my hotel room?" And she did. She could have just said no, and I've been like, "All right, well, I guess she's not interested." And it wasn't like it was, you know, I waited a few days after I had started getting to know her. But what was the point in waiting?
So he will just be forced to flash out to safety, and the minions are going to
find MDK scattered around the map.
Just cut through the bullshit.
This isn't threatening at all.
Tell them what you want.
So he will just be forced to flash out to safety, and the minions are going to proc his passive. Frescowie on the backside. It's a bit disjointed, but G2 getting routed. Han Sama trying to hold on to his life. Can they find a kill and get the reset? They cannot. Bailout will not work. Broken Blade now charging forward, looking for the Intofu strikes. Mirwin killed on the backside of the fight. Alvaro will not find a wall to connect. The hook will not take him out to safety. And G2, they see blood in the water. They want more. They're looking at this tier 2 and potentially the dive. MDK, can they hold the line? The answer is no. They're forced to back away.
The lines pounced, but they didn't see the trap. G2 had set. Double TP immediately from G2 to follow up. And yes, they managed to get Han Sama, but again, you are losing out after the plays. A massive gold lead for G2, but tier 2 is still standing. But with the mid now gone, it feels like both top and bottom are going to be very easy access for G2 as they start to push the map forward.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have to stand corrected. I said that G2 wasn't going to give them the fight, and then MDK forced their way in. It was a good pick onto Han Sama. The collapse looked very promising, and we're going to look back at it here. Halyoya with his range gets interrupted very nicely by Mickey. Han Sama with some good spacing forces Halyoya.
Really nice by Mickey.
Frescowie and Mirwin on the back line. They know who their target.
I mean, they have no Meganar though.
From Mickey to try and keep the AD carry alive, but the chain CC is good. But then the rest of G2 make their presence known. Mirwin loses his life.
They used everything, absolutely everything to do that.
Even though it costs Han Sama his, it's a 2-for-1. Or 3-for-1, I should say, in favor of G2.
5-0-1 for Caps. Has not bought anything since that Lich Bane. When he does finally recall and spend a bit of money, he's going to be huge.
He's sitting on 2,600 gold right now.
I would say that's...
Yeah, I agree.
There it goes.
Shadow Zerianer. I think people do have a victim mindset. Just don't be the victim. Like, you know, not everybody's going to like you. It's okay. You don't like everybody. Not everybody's going to want to date you. You don't want to date everybody. Just get over it. Find the people who you do want to spend time with. That's it. You don't have to make it complicated. You don't have to drag it out for fucking years.
And I think both these teams potentially overestimating the Senna or underestimating their opponent's laning prowess with something like the Varus with Halo Blades early on has just generated such a massive advantage. And we can see here, El Yo-Yo in the previous game, when he had winning lanes, when he had pushing lanes, could dominate the entire map. We talked about it, but with his lanes so often in losing states, the impact of the Zac has been heavily mitigated.
Summer feels that his life is in danger.
Flash out to safety, nice disengage ult coming in, handshake as well to stop the play in its tracks. G2 essentially baiting, knowing MDK could not resist the sight of an 80 carry left alone under the tower, but now Mirwan on the chase on the Caps. Caps potentially in, handshake as well to stop the play in its tracks.
Great Maokai ult.
Essentially baiting, knowing MDK could not resist the sight of an 80 carry left alone under the tower. Flash out to safety, dominate the entire map. We talked about.
By the way, I love this. This is exactly the same thing. Look at this. They're trying it again. It's the same play from last game, guys. It's the same play. It's the same play. Mrs. Hook. And look again. G2 is so ready for this play because it's not surprising. Just like they TF ulted first last time. Just like they TF ulted first last time. They've literally seen this before. They're just waiting here with a Maokai ult and a Renata Glass ult for you to go in. Dude, they got reverse mega baited 2 games in a row. They literally tried to set up the same play 2 games in a row, and they fucked it up both times. This time, they're just going to lose the game because of it, though.
They finally got Caps, but this time it is Hansama who survives and will take down so many members of Mad Lions Koi.
MDK recognize that their side lanes are being pushed and see a window to attack the mid lane. They have numbers advantage. If they can find that pick on the Hans, maybe they can convert it into a Baron. But the disengage tools of Maokai, Renata, and the Varus ultimate were all too much, and MDK could not find the target that they wanted.
And this is what makes G2 so difficult to play against, because you can see they're aware. Hansama is playing as far towards that top side as he possibly can, because he knows that's where his safe zone is. And the immediate ult from Yike, because he's covering the push on mid, and then the collapse coming through from Caps and BB is a massive turn top side as he possibly can, because he knows that's where his safe zone is. And the immediate ult from Yike, because he's covering the push on mid, and then the collapse coming through from Caps and BB is a massive turnaround here as well. Yes, you get Caps, but the shutdown goes to Alvaro, which is not the target that you want, and the hostile takeover just sets up beautifully for the rest of G2.
And what makes it even worse for Mad Lions Koi is that they lose all that farm in top and bot as well. All that additional gold wasn't caught by anyone. They looked for an ambitious play, and they just could not make it work. G2 now with a 9k gold lead. The Barons.
Yes, I heard about the massive stream failure in the finals. Turns out, you know, broadcast and network engineers are pretty important to internet broadcasts. Who could have known, guys? But it's okay. Twitter told me that I was just being Chicken Little and saying the sky was falling, but nothing actually went wrong. Well, you know, just because it doesn't go wrong immediately doesn't mean that that effect won't be felt. Also, the observing has been completely shit in LEC since they fired 2 of the observers. We now no longer get interesting replays. You know, like different angles from within the game. They literally just only take the footage that's already happened. You're going to see the creative aspects of LEC take a massive hit.
Doesn't quite connect. Then he goes over the wall, still gets good damage.
Unstoppable now going to bring it back to try to get away. BB trying to make it out of safety. Reset on the W is going to be pretty big here. Mirwan going to go mini. Broken Blade should just be in trouble. Is trying to run out to safety. Has the luxury of the ghost. Mirwan desperately trying to chase, but can't quite finish the job. Meanwhile, G2 have broken down the bot lane tier 2 tower. And Broken Blade's not done. He wants to keep that 1v1 going. Now that Zac's not in the picture. Broken Blade wins those.
BB demolishes Mirwan. Breaks out.
G2, no more follow-up though. They get the kill.
This is a pretty clean game by G2, guys. This is a very good game. Love the rotations. Love the tempo play around the objectives.
Anything Mad can do, they want to show they can do better. Looking to end it faster. Looking to end it cleaner. And on the edge of madness, G2 will find the game.
And, you know, it's interesting because they took the Senna the first game, and then they just opted for the other side of the Senna-Varus matchup, and they really just abused the pushing power and the tempo that it had.
Dragon in 13 seconds, but MDK, the damage has been done. The base is torn asunder. And at 24 minutes into the game, how the hell do you try and come back into this one?
MDK are going to be looking for another desperation play. They're going to opportunity lies that time.
So far ahead, they have luxury items on Mickey already. They've got a Mikhail's coming through. The already limited engage options for MDK just continue to get smaller.
Yeah, Mikhail's and Locket onto Mickey. They're never killing anybody ever again. Azir went Crypt Bloom second. He's so poor.
Perhaps they can find a way to at least even up the gold. It won't win them the game outright, but it can buy them a bit more time.
But the second you lose control of this topside jungle, that's where the game is said and done, and G2 are trying to do just that. It becomes so easy for Caps to push in top, start to look for picks, and Mickey just sitting there with Caps, trying to see if he can set up for that, but here's the collapse.
G2 needs to join LPL. Now they can replace Breon in LCK. That would be hype as fuck.
They could just lose the game. Ansama, Yomu's procs, TP now coming in. Mirwan looking for a flank angle. How much more time does he have left on the Meganar? Not a lot. I don't think he can get to the fight. Hansama flashing out onto safety. Mirwan mini Gnar off to the side. No rage. Isn't going to be super effective here. Oh, yeah, doing what he can. But the front line doesn't have any backup. Mirwan's just a little yordle. He can't get anything done in this one. And Broken Blade just looking for another 1v1. Mirwan flashing out to safety. Oh, yeah, down. 2 members down on the side of MDK. This should just be the G2 victory lap in game 2.
G2 looking to bounce back after what was an impressive MDK game 1. They shifted their priorities in the draft. They got more advantages in the early game. And now G2, in an even faster fashion, is looking to close out game 2. They're taking the second inhibitor. Frescowi, though, still stands in their way. He may be enough of a deterrent. Broken Blade's shield stay alive long enough for him to still take. Not going to push any further than they need to. Demonstrated that time.
Just complete macro dominance from G2.
Great ultimate across the backline of Madeline's Koi, and Mirwan, he's trying to stand this, but how are you supposed to really follow up on G2, who are just set up in this perfect circle where they can dish out damage on the backline? And Mirwan, speckled on his back with arrows, is just going to walk on out of that one.
And they can beat you with their wallets at this point. MDK will have to out-execute. Broken Blade untouchable. They don't really have the damage. If they auto-attack Broken Blade, someone else will
really methodical finish from G2 too. They're not rushing this. Great counter engage. Oh no, they got onto Hansama.
But again, the follow-up is just not there. Hansama's still at 50% health. They're trying to lock up Caps. They're trying to catch him out. In the meantime, Caps will get knocked down. Potentially a glimmer of hope. Shut down onto Caps is big. Oh, yeah, down in the exchange, however. Frescowi getting chunked out. Hansama is still just so damn strong. One more arrow might be enough to just finish the job. But Broken Blade doesn't even want to.
Oh my God! Broken Blade?
Down in the exchange, however. Frescowi getting chunked out. Hansama is still
it's a great
so
sequence.
Damn strong. One more arrow might be enough to just finish the job.
There's the Q3 for both of them. Oh my lord! And the one arrow, sexy. Well, only one way to describe that game from G2.